What's up, guys? Welcome back to Destiny Updates for another episode of Dear Traveler, the series where we take a look at your ideas, hopes, and wishes for Destiny. Sorry for being so late on this week's episode. I know they're supposed to be released every Friday weekly, but there was all that news about Gamescom to cover that came first, so this had to be pushed back. And I'm going to try and make this an extra long episode as a way to make up for it. I grabbed a whole bunch of comments this time. We'll see how many of them I can get through. Before we start, make sure you leave your own ideas, hopes, and wishes for Destiny in the comments below this video for a chance to be featured in the next episode. And also, the gameplay in the background, I think, is going to be some Mirror's Edge. I know it may be kind of an older game. I don't really know how many people are into it, but I just got it the other day and I've been having a lot of fun playing it, so I want to put that back there. Also, feel free to leave suggestions for games to put in the background in the comments below. I definitely check those as well. Anyways, with all of that out of the way, let's start this episode. Starting with this first comment from Spider, who says, I've seen the cloaks and capes in Destiny, and that some menus show that you'll be able to make guilds or clans in early builds. I hope that there'll be an option to set a certain type of cloak as a clan marker. Could get particularly cool in competitive multiplayer to visually distinguish in a different way than pure color coding, like red versus blue. Maybe also clan insignia or markings on our spaceships. Okay, so clan insignia or markings on our spaceships. I think that already is almost confirmed. I don't know about clan ones, but markings in general, like we've seen spaceships with our faction logos on them. So I definitely think we'll be able to visually edit our spaceships, and I hope that customizable clan decals or guild decals will be a thing, and we'll be able to put those on our ships. And of course, the same applies to the cloaks for competitive multiplayer as well. I think that would be awesome. It'd be a great way to really show off, you know, what clan or guild you're from. I think they would be called guilds in this case, not clans really. But I think that would be really cool. I don't see any downside to it. I really like the idea. On to the next comment from Scooby532, who says, Dear Traveler, I personally would like to see a cosmetic feature that you achieve over years of playing. Could take a few Destiny games to get. Basically like Recon and Halo, just so that it can show to other players how dedicated you are. I think that would be a pretty nice feature to have, as long as it wasn't something like too major that everyone wants, just some nice thing that's like, you know, something cool that does show it, but at the same time isn't like some big thing that everyone's going to try and get so hard, because then I think there'd be complaints about how hard it is to get, and it would just, I don't know, it seems like it would make trouble. But if it was just some smaller nice thing, I think that'd be awesome. And also it makes me wonder what Bungie might do for their own special exclusive Bungie employee cosmetic thing, or, you know, basically in Halo it was Recon, and then obviously the flaming helmet, both in Reach and Halo 3 they had flaming helmets, and then later down the road they opened up Recon, and in Reach they gave out the flaming helmet, so it wasn't Bungie exclusive anymore, but still for a long time it was a Bungie only thing. So I'm wondering what Bungie might do in Destiny on a similar level. How are we going to be able to distinguish Bungie employees? I imagine they're going to get something awesome, but I just wonder what it is. Moving on, this one comes from Revix Gaming, who says, Dear Traveler, would you like to see a salvage gun system to break down your gun to parts? Yes, the gun would be destroyed, but you get the attachments to put on different weapons. P.S. Let's get to bashing butts as well as these nuts. I wish I could put the Gamer Poop clip in here. I just recently watched the latest Gamer Poop episode because it came out not too long ago, and I can't get enough of that show. It's hilarious. But I wish I could play the clip in here right now. I'd be worried about copyright issues, especially since it's owned by Machinima and they're not exactly friendly, so with that kind of thing. So, wish I could play that. Anyways, onto the question here. I think that would be a really cool system, being able to break down your weapons. I wouldn't mind if the weapon was destroyed, so long as you actually got like all of the stuff from it. I mean, if you destroyed the weapon and you only got a scope or a detachable barrel or something that should be removable without harming the weapon, then that would piss me off. But if you can break down the weapon to get all kinds of stuff from it, and then remodel all of that to use on a different weapon, I think that would be really cool. And I definitely would like to see a feature like that in Destiny. Continuing on, the next comment comes from Cameron, who says, Dear Traveler, has Bungie said anything about introducing different game types / playlists in Destiny? I feel like it wouldn't be a Bungie game without some classic Team Slayer action. It's not Halo, but fire teams seem to be a great fit for multiplayer deathmatch. Now, I don't know if something like this would happen or not. We know that there's different game modes in a way. We know that there's faction wars and strikes and a few other things that we don't actually know much about, but competitive multiplayer is the main thing that we really know nothing about in Destiny. I don't know if a system like this would work or not. Again, if you watched some of my previous Dear Travelers, I talked about an arena or coliseum type system in the city. I think that would be one of the only ways to make a deathmatch type system work in a connected living world like Destiny. I mean, the whole thing is an open connected world. You can't exactly just have a deathmatch. I don't know. Maybe there's ways you could make it work, and it would be cool to have, but I'm not sure how you would do it. Again, my main idea is some sort of an arena or coliseum type thing in the city. Probably something that would be like simulated, like you'd use holograms or something like that, and that would all make it work with the canon and the lore. But I'm really not sure. I definitely would like to see something where a deathmatch style gameplay is present. The next comment comes from What the Schnell, who says, "Dear Traveler, I'd love to see the gameplay mixed up a bit. Whilst the gameplay shown looked impressive, I'm hoping for the maps to have more verticality. Since if a map is about 3 kilometers across, it'd be nice to see sandbox-style gameplay, like say Crisis, when fighting. In short, tall spots, like an abandoned skyscraper for snipers to aid their fire teams as they fight off the surrounding fallen. Oh, and bows. Bows are cool." So I think something like this would be in the game automatically. I mean, they're always going to have buildings and stuff, of course. And we've seen skyscrapers, or well, maybe not skyscrapers, but we've seen big, tall buildings in city ruins and stuff in concept art. So I'm sure those will be in the game, and I'm sure they'll be explorable, or at least I hope they will be. And I don't know, I mean, it seems possible to be able to snipe out of them. I hope it will be. In the end, we don't really know, but I mean, obviously they're going to have maps that have, you know, bigger buildings that you can go up in. I don't know. I think that's kind of a given. Hopefully it's something that we see fairly often, though. And then bows, bows are always cool in games. I mean, it's always fun to have sort of a retro-style weapon, and I see no reason why it couldn't be in the game. We'll just have to wait and see just how many different types of weapons Destiny will have. I mean, we know they're going to have lots and lots of guns, but I think it's mostly going to be variations of the same thing, so we'll just have to see. And I guess bows could make sense in a way, even in the primitive sense, because if you're out in the wild or something and you can't really make a fancy weapon, like it'd be interesting to see like bandit groups in the wild with interesting weapons, like perhaps modified bows or really like scrapped together guns and like things that are just kind of built out of scraps and different things they can get their hands on. I think that'd be really interesting, and it seems like you'd find bows in a place like that, maybe. I don't know, that's just a thought. Continuing to the next comment from the Lafardo, who says, "Dear Traveler, the ability to have your own reputation in Destiny would be awesome. I think the little AI buddy you carry around all the time, the little light ball, which is called the Ghost by the way, could tell you the reputation of a player you met if you wanted it to. It would be kind of a Pokédex for Guardians. Gardex. Nice job on the Gardex there. I think that's a pretty cool idea. In a game like Destiny where it's all about, you know, the social interaction and everything, it seems like there'll be a way to rate players, like submit positive review, negative review, that kind of thing. And it would also show like what they've accomplished, some of their personal legends or stories, as Bungie is liking to call them, and basically just some information about the player. I think that'd be pretty cool. The only problem is if it is like a rating system where players can rate each other, there's always going to be all the haters that just negatively rate and then get everyone's score down, so I don't know how that would work, but definitely a way where you can look at other players' stats and generally information about them would be really cool. Moving on, the next comment comes from Forerunners Dan, who says, "Dear Traveler, I think that there should be different ships depending on the class of your Guardian, or at least a few to choose from. Also, I think that you should be able to hire a crew for your ship depending on what class of ship is chosen, e.g. scout, dropship, gunship. There should be customization options that include color with configurations, weapons and ammo, title, crew, speed, and upgrades." So that would be obviously awesome. I mean, I would love to have different types of ships, although I don't know about tying them to your class. That seems like a bit much, but definitely multiple ships to choose from. In the old Vidoc from February, we did see 2 different types of ships being shown, and I think they were actually different classes. One was like a scout ship, and the other was crew. Or maybe they were all scout class, actually, come to think of it. I think all the ships we've seen so far were considered scout class, but I definitely think we will have multiple types of ships. We already pretty much are confirmed to. I think there'll be different classes of ships. I don't know about scout. I don't know about dropship and gunships, though. I mean, obviously, I would love to have dropships and gunships in the game. I love having lots of vehicles. Vehicles are like my favorite thing in games, and I would love, or maybe not favorite, but like next to story and overall gameplay feel, vehicles are really big in games for me. I love Battlefield because of its vehicles. But anyways, I don't know about having dropships. It just doesn't really seem like that's something they're doing. But I would certainly love, I would absolutely love to see something like that in Destiny. And I hope something like that will be possible. We'll just have to wait and see. As for all of the customization options, I think pretty much everything you said there is pretty viable. I mean, I don't see any reason why any of that couldn't be done. And it has been confirmed that we can customize our ships. We know that for a fact. We just don't know how. The only thing there is the crew. So far, the ships we've seen are kind of small. I mean, they look like one-man ships. I don't think we have a crew. and which also goes back to what you said about hiring crew. I would love to do that, but I don't know if that'll happen or not. It will probably, obviously, it'll depend on whether we can get larger ships, like dropships, for instance. If we can, obviously, being able to customize your crew would be awesome. Continuing on, the next comment comes from Gormak, who says, "Dear Traveler, since this game is about creating your very own legend, do you think we are going to be able to make choices during quests? Or maybe choose what our character is going to say during conversations?" Now, personally, I don't think we will. Bungie said once that it's all about choices, but it's not going to be a choose-your-own-adventure type game, or something along those lines. And so I think what they mean by choices is basically like what you do in the game, like what missions you take, you know, what things you accomplish, how you customize your character, what weapons you use, your fighting style. I think that's really what they mean by the choices, not necessarily like narrative or story choices. That doesn't really seem like what they're doing. It would be cool, but I don't think that's what they're going for in the game. Continuing on, the next comment comes from Dresden B17, who says, "Dear Traveler, I've only got 2 ideas I haven't heard yet. 1, shaded visors. It looks like all characters will have full helmets with visors. As someone who plays sports, rides motorcycles, and shoots guns for sport, different visors can make a world of difference for visibility. I would love to see customizable visor shading, which will impact your visibility in-game. 2, player dropships. Rolling into a conflict with a dropship of allies sounds like the beginning of an epic battle." Alright, so shaded visors, that sounds really awesome, and I can see where you're coming from. I don't really have personal experience with that, but I do know how different, I mean, I've like had different glasses that definitely make a difference of how you see, you know, how like colors pop out and how you can really see details and things. So yeah, I can see how visors do make a huge difference, and I would love to see the ability to customize the color or shading of your visor. That would be awesome. And then for player dropships, that goes into the previous comment, which of course would be awesome. Coming on a dropship is badass. I mean, that's like the most, that's awesome. But I just don't know if they're going to implement stuff like that in Destiny or not. I don't really feel it will, personally. At least, I don't know, maybe not in Destiny 1. Just from what we've seen so far, it doesn't seem like that kind of thing will happen. But I would love to, and you know, hopefully that's something that can happen. Moving on, the next comment comes from Fabian Mueller, sorry if I'm butchering your name there, who says, "Dear Traveler, do you think there will be religions like in Fallout 3, Skyrim, and the Old Republic? And will we be able to join them or wipe them out? Because I think in the whole history, religion was a big part. I'm not religious, but I think all the religion-featured quests in games are the most interesting ones. So what do you think?" And he also says, "Greetings from Germany." Greetings to you too, sir, and to everyone else in Germany. You're also, you know, in the vicinity of Gamescom there, so I imagine a lot of you guys are going. I hope you are. I certainly wish I could go. Gamescom looks amazing. Anyways, back to the comment here. I think religion is good for the backstory and lore, that's for sure. And a game like Skyrim, it has a nice place. I think it's not really too big in the game. It doesn't affect the game really, but it's a nice thing for backstory and lore. And I would like to see something similar in Destiny if it was implemented. I mean, it's not like something that is a big deal to me, but if it was there, then I would certainly be happy with it. And also, it seems like the factions are sort of, they might be something along the lines of religion. I don't know. They're maybe more like cults, but I mean, Osiris and Seven Seraphs, they sound like sort of, like, I don't know. They don't sound like regular, like, factions, like war factions. They seem different. They seem like they have some other purpose in a way. Like something, I don't know, culty or religious. I don't know, really. But I think the factions might be the closest thing we get to that. I think they're all going to have their causes that they fight for, and you know, we're going to be able to join them and fight the other factions or something along those lines. But as for having like a real religion, I really don't know. Again, it would be kind of cool to have, and we'll just have to see what happens. I don't know. On to the next comment from TT101 Warhead, who says, "Dear Traveler, I sincerely hope that the city isn't the only settlement out there. There doesn't have to be anything like other megacities, just other populated sites that aren't ruins or hostile. I also hope that these other settlements will have the same basic functions as the city, but to a smaller degree, like side quests, shops, and story central characters, etc." I think that would be pretty nice to see different settlements. I think, to be honest, I think most of them would be bandit ones. I'm sure we will see bandit settlements and stuff. I don't know. I don't know if that'll happen or not. It would be nice to see, that's for sure. I'd like to be able to go randomly come across little settlements and stuff and get some missions from them, perhaps get, you know, some more ammo or whatever if I needed something that, you know, maybe they'd have for sale. I think that would be a nice feature to have. I'd like to run into places like that. I don't know if it'll be in the game or not, because they kind of seems like they want to focus on this last city being the last real like bastion of humanity, like the last spot of good humanity on Earth. I don't know. It feels like they're kind of going for like literally that is the last place on Earth that anyone would be. But I don't really know. We'll just have to wait and see. It would be nice to see in the game, that's for sure. Moving on, John says, I would really love to see areas in Destiny in which me and my fire team could randomly engage passing guardians, or get randomly ambushed by another fire team and have to fight it out. I want there to be areas in Destiny, kind of like wilderness areas, where battle between guardians runs rampant. The ground soaked in blood where only the bravest/craziest guardians go, possibly risking loss of whatever loot they may carry with them into these areas of eternal struggle. That would be a really cool thing to have in Destiny. I think we're going to have faction wars. I mean, we know we're going to have faction wars, but I think faction wars are going to be a large-scale open-world PvP or something along those lines. But to have an actual, like a no man's land, like a real zone that is just completely, it's like you go there and you're going to get ambushed kind of thing. That would be really cool to have an area like that where people just run rampant. I hope to see an area like that in the game. It would be definitely a cool thing to have. I can imagine taking a fire team in there and having to survive and fight it, boss it out. You know, that sounds really, really cool. I would love to see that. And it definitely seems like something that could and may very well would be implemented into the game. It does not seem really extremely difficult to do or anything like that. Moving on, Graded Yam says, Dear Traveler, I really can't decide between a hunter or a warlock. Do you think there will be a demo or some sort of tutorial in the game where you can try out each class and pick your favorite one? It always sucks playing through a quarter of a game, deciding the class you picked isn't for you, and having to restart from scratch. Now, I definitely feel you there, bro. I haven't decided between any of the classes and races. Honestly, I have no idea which one I want to play. They all look so awesome. I just have to wait for more information. But, I definitely see where you're coming from there, and I think Bungie does as well. But I think one would be a public beta. I hope they do a public beta. I think they probably will do a public beta, and that would be a sort of demo where you can get a feel for the different classes. But also something in-game, a testing area in-game or something would definitely be nice. And if not that, then at least, you know, really detailed information when you're choosing your class of what it really means and all that, you know. But I certainly would like to see something like that. Where you can get a feel, for your character before you choose. But the other thing is that Bungie has said that they don't really want you to make choices in the beginning that you're really gonna, regret later. That's why they're making races purely cosmetic, because they don't want you to choose a race and then regret it down the road. I'm guessing they're gonna take a similar approach to classes as well, since they said it for races. It only makes sense that I think they're not gonna make it too horrible for you if you decide that you don't really want to specialize in whatever your class specializes in. I don't know, like say hunters specialize in sniping and stealth or something. I don't know, something like that. I imagine that you're still going to be able to branch out and do other things. I think that every class will be able to use every type of weapon. That seems like it to me. And I imagine a lot of things will be interchangeable between classes. The only thing I think would be certain abilities might be class specific. And maybe certain types of clothing and armor. Since we've seen the different classes do use different distinct looks, so I think the actual overall look of your class may not be changeable. And maybe you get certain bonuses to different attributes, but overall, I think if you're not really happy with how you're playing, you're still going to be able to change your playstyle, even if you're still the same class. You know what I mean? Like, say you're a hunter, but you want to go out there in the open and play, with a rocket launcher and a heavy machine gun or something. I think you'll be able to do that just fine. You might lose a few bonuses or something, but I think you'll still be able to do it just fine. Moving on, the next comment comes from Corbin, who says, Dear Traveler, whilst adventuring the forums of Destiny, I met a very wise man. His name was Ereristrum, I think. He offered an idea of what he called an ethereal tree, which would grow and scar the same as our guardian. The tree would be placed atop the tower in our living quarters, and would be used as an example of our character's commendations and hardships. Now, I'm not going to lie, that sounds awesome. I would really love to see something like that in Destiny. It just seems like such a cool thing to go and look at, and especially if our character is going to last for 10 years, and who knows, maybe even more. Imagine being able to look back at your tree and see everything you've done over the past 10 years. Maybe, like, have little marks when certain major things happen. I don't know. That sounds really, really cool. And since Destiny has such a crazy universe with space magic and the Traveler and everything, it sounds like, I think they wouldn't even have to explain how it works. It's just a thing that's there. It's a spiritual thing that Guardians have. And I think that would be really cool. I would love to see it as more of a spiritual, living, ethereal thing, not a technologic thing. I don't want it like on a screen. I mean, just having it on a screen and such would be cool, but actually having a living, like I said, ethereal thing, that would be really, really cool. I think I would love to see that. It's a great idea in my opinion. On to the next comment from Gobias6 once again, who says, Dear Great Sphere, I have several ideas. 1. A lottery for poor lucky guardians to get rich quick, but not too rich. 2. A bank system that lets you invest Glimmer, but you have to collect the reward daily. It doesn't stack up. 3. Leaderboards for most miles traveled on foot, most monsters killed, most teammates revived, highest KD in multiplayer, etc. 4. Fireworks on New Year's Day. 5. Constellations in the night sky. Alright there, nice going, Gobias. You've been pumping out the good ideas these days. Lottery for poor guardians to get lucky. That'd be pretty cool. I'd like to see something like that. I mean, we already know gambling is in the game, so is a lottery too much to ask for? That seems fine. And I think it could be made to get you quite rich. I mean, you said not be too rich, but I think it'd be awesome if you could get, pretty heavily rich. I mean, that'd be pretty cool. I don't know. I can also see it being an annoying thing that would piss people off, but it would be pretty cool. And as long as it was something that's actually truly hard to win, and not many people get it all, like very, very, very few people get. That'd be pretty cool. And then a banking system that lets you invest Glimmer. That'd be really cool to have banks in the city. I think that'd be really realistic. It would add to the immersion, and I think that'd be awesome. But as for the reward not stacking up, I don't really see why that's a problem. I mean, interest wouldn't be really high. You wouldn't make that much money. You'd have to. The whole point of that would be invest a bunch of money. You don't get it right away. You'd have to leave it there and slowly get money off of it. But in the long run, you make some money back. But I think the rates. I mean, they could do a thing like that where the rates were higher and you had to collect it every day. But I wouldn't really have a problem with it not stacking so long as so long as the interest rates weren't too high. You didn't get crap loads, but you got something for it. It would also be interesting. I don't know if this would happen or not, but I mean, it could, since we do know that Destiny will have an economy, and they're hiring an economy designer. It seems like Destiny will have at least a pretty living economy where you can trade, gamble, buy, all those kind of things. I would really like to see an economy that has like true inflation and actual real economic things where investing would actually, you'd have to think about, it'd be a serious thing. You'd have to think about whether it's a wise business move or, whether you're going to lose your money. I think that'd be really cool. That might be getting a bit too detailed, but I think that'd be pretty awesome. Kind of if they took a card out of EVE Online, in a sense, with their economy. I think EVE Online has an amazing economy. I would love to see something, not to that extent, because EVE Online goes a bit crazy, but something that is, it kind of advanced. I would like to see a pretty advanced living economy. And I trailed off way too long there. Sorry, guys. Leaderboards for all these different things. Obviously, leaderboards are going to be in the game. I mean, we know Bungie loves to track stats. I mean, we've already seen that with Halo. Bungie is a big fan of stat tracking. And I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to choose different leaderboards. That doesn't seem hard to implement, and it would be pretty cool to have especially to have really interesting, unique ones, like most miles traveled on foot. I would like to see even crazier leaderboards than that, but we'll see. And then fireworks on New Year's Day, yes, that kind of goes into what I said, I think, in the last mail sack, which was holiday events. That would be awesome to have fireworks on New Year's Day, and even 4th of July as well for people in the U.S. But next one, which was constellations in the night sky. Yes, that would be amazing to look up. I would also like to see the aurora. That'd be really cool, and northern lights. I don't know. That'd be awesome to see stuff in the night sky when you look up, especially since we know that Destiny has really dynamic lighting and a day-night cycle and all that. And also, it'd be interesting if you travel to different planets, seeing how the night sky would look different in each planet. That'd be really awesome. Moving on, comment from Benjamin, who says, Dear Traveler, I think it'd be great to have the option to put space magic on our weapon to give it some sort of boost, effect, or special attack with recharge. Kind of like enchanting weapons in Skyrim. Maybe not along with other space magic powers, but maybe instead of one or something. That part would be up to Bungie, of course. Now, we've already seen the ability, as a hunter, the hunter used this ability to make the revolver she was carrying, like, flaming and shooting incendiary bullets. We've already seen that in the gameplay demo, so we already know that there is a way we can magically affect our weapons. And then, we've also seen the Thunder Lord and also a hand cannon in the Destiny live-action trailer, The Law of the Jungle. We've seen those two weapons that have lightning, elemental lightning stuff coursing around them. So we don't know how that gets there. Is that Is that powered perhaps by the Traveler? We don't actually know how that effect gets there, what powers it. I wouldn't be surprised if it is a space magic powered thing, and perhaps being, enchanting in a way, if you want to call it that, our own weapons with that would be pretty cool. And yeah, I think there's a good chance that we will see something like, well, I don't know. I think we'll see definitely ways where we can affect our weapons with space magic, like the ability to make the gun incendiary, like we saw in the gameplay demo. Whether we'll be able to actually take a raw gun that we find and be able to actually like put space magic into it, I don't know if we'll be able to do that or not. It would be awesome. I hope to see something like that, but I don't know if it'll be in the game. We'll just have to wait and see. Moving on, the next comment comes from Monkey Friday 101, who starts with play PlanetSide 2. I probably will play some PlanetSide 2 in the future. I do play it occasionally. I do enjoy the game, and so I probably will. The only thing is I'm not that great at it, so it might get kind of boring, but then again, I'm not that great at most games, so I don't know. You're probably cringing at the Mirror's Edge gameplay in the background just because I'm derping or something. I don't know. Anyways, but I probably will put some in the background. You guys can tell me if you like it or not. Onto his actual comment, though. Dear Traveler, 1. I want to be able to lower my weapon. 2. Being able to change the way your face looks. 3. Riding Devil Walkers. 4. A human tank. 5. Something like a warthog from Halo. Alright, lowering your weapons would be awesome, especially for social environments, being able to, like, just lower your weapon and, like, I don't know, if you're just talking or wandering around in a non-violent area, that'd be really cool. In fact, I'm guessing that in the city, you're not even going to have a weapon in your hand. I mean, why would you? In the tower in the city, I'm guessing your weapon will just stay on your back or on your hip. I mean, I don't see any reason why you'd need to carry the weapon in your hand. The other thing is for machinima purposes. I hope we'll be able to film machinimas in Destiny. I hope we will. And if so, then lowering your weapon is kind of important. I mean, it definitely is a major element of it. I mean, for recording machinima. So I'd love to see something like that. And hopefully it's not like Halo's where it's really difficult and it could, well, in Halo it can only be done offline. And Destiny is an always online game, so I don't know, you know, obviously it can't be like that. But yeah, long story short, I hope to see that in the game. It would be really cool. Number 2, being able to change the way your face looks. I think that's pretty much a given. I mean, Destiny is all about creating your guardian and customizing your character and, you know, building your legend. I think you'd have to be able to customize your face for that. I mean, that only makes sense. Riding Devil Walkers, I would love to be able to do that, but I don't know if it's possible. It almost looks like it's like machine controlled, like, you know, AI controlled or something. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. Would be awesome, but I don't know if it can be done or not. For a human tank, of course, it would be awesome to have a human tank. We've seen, I don't think we've even scratched the surface on vehicles yet. We've probably seen nothing. I mean, we honestly, well, we kind of have seen nothing. We've seen the Pike and the Sparrow, Spider Tank, and ships. I think that's really it. We've seen very, very little. So I definitely think there's a lot more on the vehicle front to come. And that goes the same for the Warthog from Halo. Yes, something along the lines of that, you know, a smaller vehicle that can take a few passengers. Definitely would be cool to have something along those lines in Destiny, and I think we will. I definitely think we will. Moving on to the next comment from the Space Marine 14, who says, Dear Traveler, 1. Will there be missions where you are sent to retake cities, for example London, with a large group of players, for example 30 players? 2. Will there be land, sea, and air battles between you and, for example, the Fallen? 3. Will we be able to set up our own space fleet? 4. Would a green male exo-titan look like Master Chief? Okay, so missions to retake the city. Honestly, I think London might be a bit too beat up to retake. I don't know. We've seen concept art of Mumbai and Chicago. Neither looked very good or worth retaking, but I don't know. I don't really... Well, we are regaining the offensive, recovering what we lost. Perhaps something like that would be possible. I would love the gameplay experience. I mean, having like a major sort of alert thing where it says like, oh, go here, you know, retake the city, this and that. That would be awesome, and I would love to see something like that in the game. We'll just have to see if it will or not. Land, air, and sea battles between other enemies. No idea. Would be really cool, definitely, but honestly, no idea. We know nothing about sea or, you know, being able to swim or sea vehicles or anything. We know nothing about that yet, so we'll just have to see. Will we be able to set up our own space fleet? I think you'll be able to set up squadrons like fire teams. But I think your fire team will continue into space. I mean, if you're in a fire team, it'll continue into space. But we'll just have to see. I don't know if we'll be able to do larger fleets than that or not. It will really depend on whether we can do space combat or not. I mean, if we can't do space combat, then space fleets are meaningless. So it will really depend on whether we can actually manually control our ships in space and have space combat, which I really, really hope they will. Last one, green male exo looking like Master Chief. Yeah, right. No way. Continuing on, the next comment comes from Frozen Phoenix 101, who says, Dear Traveler, what I don't want from Destiny are missions where you have to fight through hordes of Hive, Fallen, and Vex just to deliver one small letter they could have just called them, when they could have just called them. 2, too few legendary weapons. I want there to be tons of them. 3, not having a lever action shotgun. 4, space battles, JK, everyone should want that, which I think majority of people do. Now, the thing is, this is not what this series is about. I want it to focus, it's about your ideas, hopes, and wishes for Destiny, not the things you're dreading or don't want to see. But I thought that this kind of caught my eye, it was interesting, so I decided to mention it, and I might mention these kind of comments occasionally, but they're not going to be the main focus of the show. Now, to break this down, of course, you want missions to feel like, you want to feel like you've accomplished something at the end of the mission. You don't want to just play the mission and then feel like it was worthless. And I think for missions in Destiny, I think probably, will be. I think Destiny's great at stories. I really love all the missions in Halo, pretty much all of them. And I definitely think that, and the vast majority of the missions will be very enjoyable, and you'll feel like you've accomplished something for real. And then too few legendary weapons. Obviously, more weapons the better, more unique weapons. Also, I don't know if you know, legendary is like one tier, but then there's the real fancy ones, like the Thunderlord, the Super Good Advice, Thorn, all those guns. Those are exotics, those aren't legendary. That's like the high tier where they're actually named and have special properties and are like modified and stuff. But yeah, more the better. And then not having a lever action shotgun, we'll just have to see. I imagine we'll find some lever action shotgun in the game. Well, it looks like that was actually the last comment I grabbed, which is kind of a good thing because my voice is starting to wear out a bit. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to leave your own ideas, hopes, and wishes for Destiny in the comments below for a chance to be featured in the next episode. Also, like I say in every episode, there's always a ton of comments that I can't get, to feature. There's too many. So if you didn't get your comment featured, feel free to repost in this episode, then, for a chance to be featured in a future one. And you never know. As long as it's not something that, I addressed in a previous episode, or it's not something that is similar to one I already answered, then feel free to repost. I have no problem with that. Also, feel free to leave your suggestions for games for me to play in the background. For Mirror's Edge, I just been playing that a little bit for the past couple days and was enjoying it, so I wanted to play it. But I also did see a suggestion for it. I wasn't going to use it, but I saw a suggestion, so win there. But make sure you leave your own suggestions, and I do use them. But other than that, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next update.